Hey guys, welcome to today's episode. And today we are talking about how to get a spark back in your employees, how to just reignite that spark that may be missing. I know I've talked to tons of employers lately, and they are just like, I just can't get anyone to do anything. No one seems to want to work. And it's the common thread we're hearing over and over again. And today we have Tony Martignetti. No, it's Martignetti. Is that right, Tony?
Yes, you've got it.
Yes. And we are so excited to have you. He is an inspirational coach. And so welcome, Tony.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm looking forward to digging into this topic and just, having a good jam with you and talking about some good conversations. So.
Yes. So what would you say to someone? And literally, I'm not joking when I say I'm hearing this over and over from CEO to CEO. They're like, it just seems like no one wants to work anymore. They're just like in kind of COVID relaxed chill mode. There's no like hustle and grind and let's go get it and let's go after it. And it's frustrating because most of the times the CEO and the leaders are like, I've still got that fire. I've got that passion. I've got that fire. And the spark with them is like, oh, I'll just get to it when I feel like it, or, that sort of thing. So give us some tips.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing is it's making sure that they don't take this mentality of I'll be the martyr and I'll just do it all myself, or I'll take on the burden and look around and say, because I'm here, I'll just do it. You have to realize that you're only one person. If you're the leader of an organization and you're saying to yourself, where are my people? Just because they're not there doesn't mean they're not, they don't care. And we have to basically reconnect with them because of this in this world right now where everyone has been working remotely, or if they have been working in the office, and you feel like they're just missing that motivation, we do need to rekindle that spark in people and make sure that there's a reason we what's the reason for them wanting to do the work. So it starts with just this understanding of, what is it that they're going through? We've all been going through some stuff. It's been a challenging period of time. So how do we really meet them where they are? Where are they struggling the most? Is it because they don't want to come into the office? Is it because they've got personal things going on and they don't want to necessarily be dealing with the time, working on a certain set time? So it starts with realizing that you understand their challenges. Yeah.
So give us some real practical tips. I'll give you one thing that we've done recently, and that is some extra things that we've had to sit down with our employees and said, listen, we've got some extra things that need to be done, but it's probably an extra 20 hours worth of work. And we are not going to hire another person to do it. Instead, we are going to incentivize you guys to do this. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a list of these different tasks that need to be done. And we're going to give you a bonus for it. So, gas prices are going up. Everyone's trying to earn more money. So this is a way for you to earn more money, but it's also a win-win because we're getting some things done. We're going to give this list, turn it in at the end of the week. As you have time, go ahead and fill that out. And you can get more money and we don't have to hire another person. So that's kind of one little thing that we did to kind of incentivize them to do it. Can you give us some other tips that are super practical that people can implement to kind of get them charged up?
Yeah, I mean, one of the best ways to do this is start by just reigniting them in terms of what is the mission of the company and what are we looking to accomplish, but also making sure that you're keying in on what are the priorities that they should be worrying about. If they feel as though the priorities that they have are overwhelmed by this, we have less people and we're trying to do more, then it can be misaligned as incentives. So the best thing you can do is making sure that they understand what are the things we want to accomplish in the next month, next 2 months, next 3 months, or more, and making sure that they have that understanding. but then understand if there's additional incentives that they're being given, how can those things help them to almost gamify the process? So I like that idea that you shared. Bringing them that sense of how does this align to the big picture is what I love to do, is to make sure people see, how does my work connect to the big picture? How does it help us move the ball forward for the company? Because sometimes we lose sight of that.
Yeah. And I think, like for us, our vision statement at our company is to change the lives of the communities we serve through abundant giving. And so giving to different organizations is what we're really passionate about. And so 10% of the company dollar profit goes to all kinds of different charities, like the, Crisis Pregnancy Center. And, the clients get to pick 10 different charities that they want to choose from. And so kind of recasting that vision of why we do what we do is a nice reminder, like maybe playing a video of, the Crisis Pregnancy Center and how we're making an impact there, or playing a video of the homeless shelters that we help with, and kind of those change lives so that they go, hey, we're not just selling homes here. We're also changing lives, and we're really making an impact in the community that we serve. Kind of gives a different reminder of why they do what they need to do.
Yeah, I love that you say this, because this is what we're tapping into here is where does this spark come from? It comes from inspiring people through intrinsic motivation, not just external or extrinsic motivation. If you're just worrying about, okay, am I getting paid? Am I making money? Am I making all these things that, are going to make me feel like I can buy the things that I need? Sure, those things are necessary, but you also want to tap into the heart of what it is that makes them want to do the work, that drive their soul. And I don't mean to be so out there, but it's true. Like, you want people to see that, wow, the work I do makes a difference to someone's life, it makes someone's day beyond just, filling my pocket. And I think that when you can tap into that type of motivation, then people come to work feeling as though their contribution is making a difference. I worked for many years in the biotech industry, which, sometimes there's a negative connotation around prices being charged for the therapeutics. But the reality is, when you put the patient at the center and you say, we're doing this for this person, this face that goes, this child whose life gets saved by what we do, it makes everyone think, how can I make a difference today? How can I do something today that's going to make that life that much better? And that's a driver that really keeps people showing up every day feeling like, what can I do?
And now a word from our sponsor, Chantel Realty. Run your business your way, only at Chantel Realty. You can have all the freedom with none of the standard real estate red tape. If you're an agent, you get to run the show however you want and be your own boss. If you want to launch a team, you don't have to jump through all the hurdles and holdups. From day one, you'll have tons of tools and perks to offer your team. Powerful real estate tech like KV Core, Brokerman, and Skyslope. If you want to be your own brokerage or already have your own brokerage, that's not a problem either. You'll still get to run it however you want. All Chantel requires is a small Powered by Chantel logo next to yours. You can be the broker, you can be the manager, and you get to determine splits. You get all the tech, admin support, ownership stock, and revenue share, but most importantly, all the freedom, all the time, only at Chantel Realty.
I know that you wrote the book Climbing the Right Mountain, and it really helps you to get clear about what you want, who you want to be, and how putting the client, the employees first, and figuring out, hey, maybe some of these employees don't want to be here and we may need to replace them.
Yeah, which is a very real thing. I mean, I think that's important. And I love that you bring this up because it starts with ourselves, like each individual as a leader has to make sure that they understand their motivations are driven by their own definition of what success looks like, which is why oftentimes we get misaligned in our climb up the mountain based on the external views of success. So once we get clear about why we're doing what we're doing, and we lead from that place, lead from a place of this is what I'm doing it for, people see that. The people around you that you bring into your company, if they're driven by the same things that you're driven by, and you're painting the right picture, and I don't mean that as if it's fake. It has to be transparent, that you are telling people, hey, I don't know where we're going to go specifically. I just know that directionally, this is what my intentions are. My intentions are for us to do this. And if you follow me, this is how we're going to go. This is how we're going to navigate. These are the principles that I live by. If you believe in those, then come along. If you don't, if you're just here to make money, or if you're here for, other reasons, then maybe this isn't the right place for you. And have people self-select out of an organization. In some ways, that motivation is just driven by the stories you tell and the way that you lead. That somehow just shows up in how you're carrying yourself. But it starts with yourself. You have to make sure you connect with, why are you doing what you're doing? Why did you choose this path you're on? And if you're not seeing that, if you've lost sight of who you are, then it's hard for you to be on the right path.
Give us the number one tip that kind of people talk to you about when reading that book, and they said, this is the story you told in it, or a piece of it that you told that was the most powerful. Give us a little glimpse of it.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the stories in it are from, climbing mountains the right and the wrong way. And I think my own story of leaving the boardroom. So I'll share this one story that I think resonates with a lot of people. I spent most of my career working in biotech. And then one day I was sitting in a boardroom and seeing a lot of these leaders who were just kind of worried about their own image. It was a very toxic leadership. And I realized in that moment, as I was looking around the room, that everyone was checked out. There's 40 people in the room, and they are all looking down at their cell phones. And I said to myself, I'm like, gosh, this is an industry where we should be worried about the patient, right? I mean, I've worked at some amazing companies before that day. And I said to myself, I think I'm done collecting a paycheck. And I need to do something different about the way people are showing up as leaders. So I decided to leave the room, to change the room. And that was the moment, full of all the fear and the anxiety that goes with it. I left that room and decided that I would be a force of change as to how people would show up as leaders. So I walked out of the room and never came back into the corporate world as an employee of another organization. So everyone who's read that story has said to me, wow, is that the path I have to go on? I'm like, no, not necessarily. I mean, I often say, make sure you build the road before you jump out onto the path. And you can do that by taking steps, small experiments, checking to see if there are things that you can do in your current capacity, in your current role, that could be different. Maybe seeing your role from a different perspective.
I love that. Well, this has been great. Tell listeners where they can find you and where they can follow you.
Absolutely. The best place to find me is my website, inspiredpurposecoach.com, where you can take a leadership assessment that will find out where you are now and where you'd like to go. And the other place you can follow me is on LinkedIn. That's my go-to social media, where you can find me at Tony Martignetti with a 1 at the end, not an I.
Awesome. Well, you guys stay tuned. We've got another episode coming up in just a few. Bye-bye for now.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Real Life Leadership. If you'd like to get the show notes or access more resources, log on to reallifeleaders.com/podcast to get the show notes from this episode and any other resources we might have mentioned. And also, we'd love to hear from you. Be sure to review or rate this podcast on Apple Podcasts to help spread the word. And if you have any leadership questions you want answered, email podcast@reallifeleaders.com.